Let me guess, you've planted beets before, dreaming of a massive spring or fall harvest, but instead you end up pulling up tiny marble or golf ball sized roots out of the ground weeks later. It's one of the most frustrating feelings in the garden, isn't it? You do all the work, the watering, the weeding, the waiting, and that's your reward? It's enough to make you swear off beets for good. This almost always comes down to one huge mistake. A mistake thousands of gardeners make every year without even realizing it. But here's the good news. The fix is surprisingly simple, and it's not some secret fertilizer or a complicated soil recipe. It's a simple rule of measurement that will completely transform your beet harvest from disappointing to gigantic. The key to giant beets isn't what you add to the soil, it's what you take away. The secret is giving them space. And the rule you have to live by is what I call the 3-inch rule. I'm going to show you exactly how to use this, but first you need to understand why this is the single most important factor in getting those big, beautiful roots. So picture a single beet plant. That gorgeous round root is the plant's energy storage tank. Its one and only job is to swell up as big as possible to store sugars and nutrients. But it can only do that if it has the physical space to expand. When beet seedlings are crammed together, their roots are literally bumping into each other, and that constant pressure sends a signal to the plant that says, hey, there's no more room down here, stop growing. The plant gives up on root and puts all of its energy into growing leaves instead. So here it is, the 3-inch rule. Every single beet you want to grow to full size needs a minimum of 3 inches of open soil on all sides. Think of it as their own personal bubble. If another beet is inside that 3-inch zone, neither one will reach its potential. They'll probably fight for water, they're going to be fighting for nutrients, and most important, they're fighting for real estate. By giving each beet its own little plot of real estate, you're giving it the green light to swell into that massive, tender, sweet root you've been dreaming of. Following this one rule is the difference between a handful of marble and golf ball sized beets to a basket full of baseball sized beets. Of course, the 3-inch rule works best when you give your beets a solid foundation to grow in. You can give a beet all the space in the world, but if you plant it in concrete, it's not going to go very far. This goes for compacted, rocky, or heavy clay soils. The beetroot has to physically push the soil aside to get bigger. And if the soil is hard, it has a hard time doing just that. And you'll end up with small, tough, and sometimes weirdly shaped beets. Your goal is to create a light, fluffy, and free of obstruction soil that is perfectly loamy and well draining. So grab your garden fork, loosen the soil in your bed, and as you turn it, feel free to get rid or pull out every single rock or trash or debris that you find. Getting rid of old tough roots also from last year's or your summer plantings will also benefit as well. You're aiming for a texture that you can easily plunge your hand into. And then once you've got that complete, you're ready to seed. With our soil perfectly prepped, it's time to plant. A giant harvest starts with the right seeds. So make sure you get some good quality seeds when you start to plant. Now, when you're planting in late summer, we're in a race against the shortening of days and that first frost. But don't worry. This is actually a good thing because beets develop their best, sweetest, flavor when they mature in the cool weather of fall and they can actually go through that first frost. The tricky part though is getting them to that point and keeping them alive during that late summer heat. Now, keeping your plants well watered during this hottest part of the year until it starts to cool off will reduce the stress of your plant and help in preventing it from bolting. Now, bolting is when your plant gets too stressed out, and in this case from the summer heat, and it decides to go straight to flower, reducing the size of the beetroot. In addition to the beetroot being smaller, it's also going to be more woody rather than sweet. So keeping your plants stress-free and well watered will ensure that come fall, we're satisfied. Now, here's the critical piece of beet trivia that makes the 3-inch rule non-negotiable. That little wrinkly thing that we call the beet seed, it's not a single seed at all. It's a multi-germ cluster that contains anywhere from 2 to 5 individual seeds. That means for every 1 seed that you plant, you're probably going to get a small clump of several seedlings sprouting right on top of each other. This is why when you plant the beet seed, you don't need to double up in the hole that you're planting in, because you've already got multiple seeds out of that one cluster. And it's also why it's extremely important that you thin the beet seeds once they come up. Now, to give your seeds a head start, you can soak them in a bowl of water for a few hours or even overnight before planting. This will soften up the tough outer casing and tells the seed inside that it's time to wake up, lending to a faster, more even germination. Now, when you're ready to sow, make sure you have a shallow trench in your prepared soil, no more than 1/2 inch deep. Place your seeds in the trench, aiming for 3-inch gaps between them. As you can see, I'm using a board as a guide. Gently cover them with soil, pat it down lightly, and then give the bed a good, thorough watering with a soft shower setting. Consistent moisture is the key for the next week or so don't let your soil dry out. Now, in about 3 or 4 weeks after planting your beet seedlings, they'll be a few inches tall. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Not a single plant, but little clumps of 2, 3, even 4 seedlings all battling for the same tiny patch of dirt. At this point, you have to thin out the plants. Now, I know it feels wrong. I understand. It feels like you're destroying your future crop, but you have to change your mindset. You're not killing seedlings. You are choosing which ones get the honor of growing into giants. If you do not thin, you're not choosing any of them, and you're condemning all of them to be small and crowded forever. But don't fret about that for now. I'll provide a follow-up video on thinning as soon as the guys that we just planted are ready. So, if you take just one thing away from this video, let it be this. The #1 mistake that leads to small beet harvest is planting them too close together. That 3-inch rule isn't just a suggestion, it's the fundamental secret to unlocking your plant's true potential. Prepare your soil, pick a good variety. I use bull's blood and Cylindra beets, and these are my favorites, and plant and watch them go. Give each beet the space it deserves to swell, and it will reward you with a harvest that's not only giant, but also incredibly sweet and tender. If you found this guide helpful and you're ready to say goodbye to tiny beets forever, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It lets me know that you want more in-depth gardening guides like this one. And now I have to ask, what's your absolute favorite way to cook and eat your homegrown beets? Let me know in the comments below. And I always look for new ideas from all of you. Now, get out there and get planting. If you're interested in harvesting and storing your beets, then watch this video right here for help. And if you're a beetroot fan, then watch this video right here.